This video is to show you how to plot the epicurve of an epidemic. Now, an epicurve is really just a histogram of the count of cases per day. So for this outbreak, our epi day is the day of the outbreak that each property became infected, and so that's the data that we're going to want to use. Shift and down to select all of that data, Control C to copy it, and what we'll do is to paste it into a new sheet just so that we have somewhere nice and clean to work. Now, of course, if we're going to draw a histogram, we need to have bins designated so that we can count the frequency in each bin. So in this case, we're going from day 0 of the epidemic, and we'll make a series in steps of 1 down to 231. Why 231? Well, if we filter this epi-day data, we can see the range is from 1 down to 230. So then, data analysis, a histogram. You can select the input data, Shift N down to select all of the rows with data in them. The bin range, we can select from the worksheet. These are the bins, Shift N down to select all of those. We've got the labels button ticked because we had labels on both of these columns. Our output range, we'll tell it to just put it here so that we can see what we're doing, and make sure you've ticked chart output so that we actually get the chart as well. Press OK, and that'll give us our histogram. Now we can make this a bit bigger to see what we're actually looking at, and you can see that that now is capturing the number of properties on each day of the epidemic that were infected. Right-click Format Data Series. We'll take the gaps out of the histogram, and instead of calling this bins, we want to call this day of the epidemic. Our heading could be UK 2001 FMD epicurve, and instead of calling this frequency, if we right-click, come to Select Data, choose that frequency variable and say Edit, we can change the series name to number of IPs. Okay, and we might also want to change this to number of IPs. We can also delete the legend if we don't feel that it's needed for the chart that we're showing. Great, so that's our epicurve. Now the last thing that we want to do is to add a 7-day rolling average to this epicurve to show the general trend of what the epidemic was doing. So if you right-click on the data itself, you'll see that there's this option called Add Trend Line. Right-clicking on blank space won't bring up that option. You have to right-click on the actual data. And we want a moving average trend line with a period of 7. That's going to show us the moving average over each week. So you can see now we've got that nice little trend line there, and you can play around with the formatting, like the colours of the chart, using Format Data Series. Automatic fill at the moment. If you want a solid fill, then you can go through and choose the colours, or when you right click there, it will come up down here. So that's our nice epicurve.